Okay, so today we're going to start off with the addition of unlike fractions. Now, when you're adding unlike fractions, what you want to do first is find a common denominator, usually the GCF. So the GCF of 5 and 11 is 55. And so you take 55 and um, to get 55, you have to multiply 11 by 5. You had to multiply 5 by 11. Okay. And anything you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator, or they're going to be different numbers. And it's the same number. So then you have to multiply 4 by 11 and 9 by 5. And so you get 44 and 45. And then you just add. And when you're adding fractions, the denominator stays the same, and you just add the numerators. So it would be 9. And then if you can simplify this, you simplify this. This time you can't. But this is what it is. Okay. We'll do one more and then go on. So the next question is 1/3 plus 3/12. Now 3/12 can stay, and this is because the greatest common factor for them is 12. Because if you multiply 3 by 4, and you multiply 1 by 4, you get 4/12. And then you add, and you get 7/12. Okay. Alright, the next section is multiplying fractions by whole numbers. Alright, so when you're multiplying fractions by whole numbers, what you want to do is take the whole number and put it over 1. So it's 2 over 1. And it's 2 over 1 is still 2, so it doesn't matter. And you don't necessarily have to do this, it just makes it easier. And then you take 3/10. And when you're multiplying fractions, what you want to do is you multiply the denominators and you multiply the numerators. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 10 is 10. And then you simplify to get 3/5. Another way to do this is you simplify first and then you multiply. So if you look at number 6 over here, it would just be 10 over 1, and then 1 over 4. And so this time you're going to simplify before you multiply. So you can simplify across, or you can simplify down this way, and you can simplify across this way, like that. What you can't do is you can't simplify like this. Like if this was a 2, if this 1 was a 2, and you turn this into a 5 and that into a 1, you get a completely different number than what your answer is. So you don't want to do that. If you're going to simplify, only simplify down and only simplify across. Okay, so our original question was 10 over 1 times 1 over 4. So since you can simplify across, you just simplify you divide 4 by 2 to get 2, and divide 10 by 2 to get 5, and then you multiply across. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 5 times 1 is 5. So the answer is 5 over 2. I don't think it depends on whether you simplify first or last. It's just something that you should know. Okay, the next section would be classifying angles. Now, you want to classify them by acute, obtuse, or right. And acute would be less than 90 degrees, obtuse is greater than 90 degrees, and right is 90 degrees. So this would be a 90 degrees, this would be acute, and this would be obtuse. Okay. So if you look over here, 90 degrees would be a perfect right angle like this. And this is not that. This is less than the 90 degrees, which means you know that this is an acute, or just A for short. Okay, now we need to find out which degree it is. And for this, we're just going to have to guesstimate a bit. You know that even though it's not 90 degrees, it's very close to 90 degrees. So it will probably be 80. Because anything else is either too big or too small. So this would be an 80 degrees acute angle. If you go down here to number 2, and a right angle would be this. And this is very clearly much bigger than a right angle, which means that it's an obtuse. Okay, and let's see, this would be a 180 degrees. This would be 180 degrees. And so if you look up here, there are only two obtuse angles. There's 155 and 170. Now 170 seems a bit too big because this gap is more than 10 degrees, which means the only other option is 155 degrees. Okay, now the last section would be word problem on proportions. Okay, so what you want to do for here is first you need to find out what the question is asked. So you want to know how long it takes to travel 200 miles, okay? So 200 miles in X hours. So how many hours does it take to travel 200 miles? And we know that over here it takes 3 hours to travel 120 miles. So then you just simplify. So then 12 and 20, and then 3 and 4, and then you can divide by 4, to just get a 5. And then after that, it's just x is equal to 5. So then the answer would be 5 hours. Okay. And that's what a proportion would be. It's fairly straightforward. The only thing that you need to be worried about is finding out what the question is asking. So you buy 50 apples, you pay $25. So then you buy 75 apples, and how much do you pay? So then you divide that by that, you get a 2. And so you multiply across, so 2x is equal to 75. And so x is equal to 75 over 2, which is $37.50, or $37.50. Okay, we'll do one more. So it takes Mike 18 minutes to finish. So 18 minutes, 4 pages. 30, and then X minutes, and 30 pages. Notice that this time the X is on top instead of on the bottom. That doesn't really matter as long as they're the same as each other. So if I put X on the bottom, 30 over X, then this would have to switch to be 4 over 18. Up here, if I want X on the top and put X over 75, I would have to do 25 over 50. Okay, so then you're going to divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, you get 15. And so, and then just multiply across to get X is equal to 135. Yeah, so he would be able to read 30 pages in 135 minutes. Okay, that's it for this time.